The Amtrak Springfield line, June 2019.
We start this video off at the once rail-served suburban propane. We're at Mactown Road in northern Windsor, Connecticut, and Connecticut Southern CSO-4 is pounding south with a 4-pack of Jeeps. Notice the LTEX GP15-1 fourth out. I made an attempt to catch CSO-4 again, north of Midland Interlocking in Hartford, but arrived at the crossing at the same time. Soon after, however, CT Rail 4407 came breezing by, using a shoreline east set on Wednesday, June 12th.
Amtrak, milepost. Temperature 75 degrees. Detector out. 3407. How do you
7 minutes later, at 2:28 p.m., it's Amtrak's turn. The northbound Vermonter is seen getting up to track speed, fresh out of their Hartford station stop. We move a few miles up the line to Windsor, Connecticut, where we see Amtrak 55 blazing south with a theater car on the rear. We then move down to Island Road, where we see CSO-5 coming north with the same power from CSO-4 earlier. Only 2 minutes later, we see Amtrak 417 coming south from Windsor. I then moved over to Warehouse Point, Connecticut, to get a shot of 474 coming across the river shortly after 5 p.m. To end our day on June 12th, we see Amtrak 476 making track speed over Mactown Road in Windsor, Connecticut. It is now June 17th, just before 7:40 in the morning, and we're set up on the western edge of Hartford Yard, where we see Amtrak 495 coming into the station. We then move south and west to Oakwood Avenue to see CT Rail 4453 blazing out of Hartford. I then moved back to the western edge of Hartford Yard, shooting under the Hartford skyline. Here we see an unusual north-facing CT Rail Jeep leading train 4404. About 10 minutes after 4404, we see CSO-4 departing north from Midland, with PNW Super 7 2215 leading. We then quickly move up to Windsor Locks to get CSO-4 once again in a newly opened up shot due to recent brush cutting. We are now set up at Emerson Road in Longmeadow, Mass. to see CT Rail 4405 coming south just before 11 a.m. And here is what an unprepared shot behind GMC Springfield looks like. Back down in Thompsonville, Connecticut, we see the second Springfield-bound CT Rail train of the day, 4406. Now we see the southbound return of that train set running as train 4407. It's now 10 to 3 in the afternoon, and CSO-4 is pounding south out of the hole from field. Earlier in the day, I had received word from a friend that the CNZR would be making multiple trips along their armory branch that afternoon. We decided to get together and found ourselves on the property around 20 to 4. We were greeted by the CNZR GE-25 tonner, dating back to October of 1945. As we see here, it still gets the job done. Here in Broadbrook Yard, the 25-ton engine has just made its first drop-off. From here, it will proceed light, south, and west towards the Amtrak Springfield line to pick up cars from the interchange. Here at Griffin Road in South Windsor, the GE-25 ton is heading back to Broadbrook with the heaviest load it can handle. This is on account of a grade, just steep enough to stall the little engine when bringing more than 2 loads up. And here we see the train again, coming back into Broadbrook at Windsorville Road. And finally, here's one more shot of the job arriving back at Broadbrook Yard at 4:25 in the p.m. After an hour well spent on the CNZR, we head back over to the Springfield line at Hayden Station Road, where we see Amtrak 474 blazing up to Windsor Locks for a station stop. And here we are now at Windsor Station, where we see Amtrak 417 departing southbound. And finally, to end the day on June 17th, here is Amtrak 476, also making a station stop at Windsor. It is now June 20th, and we're at Parsons Road in Enfield, Connecticut, where we will see CT Rail 4407, Amtrak 56 and 55 between 2 and 3:30 p.m. About an hour later, we see CSO-5 coming out from Midland at Hartford Yard, with 2 Jeeps pulling. Six days later, I got up early and went straight to Oakwood Avenue in Hartford in an attempt to catch CSO-1 heading northbound in daylight. However, this didn't pan out, but I did manage to catch CT Rail 4451 and 4452. And now we see CP Rail 4404 north of Midland Interlochen in Hartford at Meadow Road. Behind the 4404 was CSOR CSO-3, coming out of Midland at 9:20 in the morning, with 3844 and 2038 Sandwich cars bound for Bradley International Airport. I then took the I-91 northbound ramp right off of Meadow Road and got off the highway at Windsor Locks to catch CSO-3 once more about 20 minutes later along the causeway. It's 4 minutes past 10 a.m., and we're looking at the wide Connecticut River off of the East Shore in Warehouse Point, Connecticut. And here we see Amtrak 490 making its crossing. Eight minutes later, we see CSOR's Hartford to West Springfield turn, CSO-4, with two new kids and an old friend, making for a unique trio of power. I then headed into Bradley Airport, where I knew CSO-3 would soon be arriving. In these next few shots, we'll see the push-pull job work in industry before heading back out to the main. With their work completed, CSO-3 now heads back out to the Springfield main. We now see the local getting up to main line track speed at Hayden Station Road, minutes before noon.
Underexpose your color, underexpose your color, overexpose your black and white. This is the guy that's got the 2 units.
Over in Warehouse Point, I ran into an older gentleman I had seen earlier along the line. He told me a bit about he used to process his photos while Amtrak 473 passed, and before CT Rail 4406 came by. To conclude our 30-minute look at the Springfield line, we see CSO-4 come south at Parsons Road in Enfield. The train consists of trash cars for Hartford, boxcars and pellet hoppers for the CNZR, and several other cars for destinations around the capital city.